Hello everyone and welcome to this pre-recorded webinar on YPO's Framework 949, Home to School Safeguarding Transportation Solutions. I'm Scott Hesketh, Buyer for Fleet at YPO, and I'm joined today by Dominic Calantari, who is the Director at Vectare. Vectare provide and operate the system we will be demonstrating for you today. Before we get into the demonstration, I would like to take this chance to thank you for your interest in our framework, and the contact details for inquiries are on screen now. Just a little overview of the framework and what YPO are trying to achieve. The framework offers a mobile subscription service for transport providers and a free downloadable application for parents. The application is aimed at integrating collection and delivery points, routes, time forecasts via NFC stickers, and all information is to help provide parents and guardians with the necessary safeguarding information required whilst their children are on school transport. This covers all forms of transportation of schools for children and young people with special education needs and disabilities. This offering is designed to complement the already existing local authority arrangements within transport providers. I shall now hand over to Dominic, who will give us a tour of the system.
Thanks, Scott. Welcome to our system, and this system we like to call Vective, produced by us here at Vectare, which is designed to encompass all home to school transport and enable safe pupils travel to or from school. This is an overview of how the system would look here in YPO colours, but will also be branded in the bespoke school colours for any individual school, with the routes here at the top of the page, school name, and then whether it's a bus service or a coach service. As well as here, parents have the opportunity to sign up, check availability on a given route, book now, potentially view a map, which you can see here. Any frequently asked questions can also be placed in here. Any guides or anything further information produced by the school, local authority, or any other provider on the school bus service can also be inserted, as well as contacting us or contacting the school, the relevant person that the query needs to go to. This system, as a parent would interact with it, would look like this. It sits on the web, can also be done in a mobile application on any form of mobile device, or also on any tablet. Most parents would typically either go to their given route, if they know where they're travelling to or from, or they might decide to enter their postcode to find their closest stop. In this instance here, I'll enter a postcode, and it will show them where they're going to, but then also generate their 5 closest stops to their postcode area. In this instance, Bramcote, the leisure centre bus stop, is the closest stop. You can see by zooming in on the Google map or zooming out how far away the stop is from the location of where the postcode is. But you can also see, crucially, what side of the road the bus stop stops at, what route is served. This is often colour coded and potentially linked to the map. Also, you can see the departure times or the arrival times, and then also the fare and how much it would cost in some instances. Where booking is required and payments can also be taken, in particular for some services where charges are levied, the system can also allow for payments to be taken by parents directly and individually. Parents can very quickly from here check availability on a given route. And if they think that the closest stop that's given, and either the walking distance or the driving distance given, is not actually their most preferable stop because they're heading in a different direction to work or for closeness or ease, they can select another stop and potentially go through and click book now. If a parent wishes to book and the booking feature is enabled, parents can click book now, takes you to the booking form where they can book either a regular travel or a single trip travel in certain instances. Regular travel, for example, could be booked by the parent entering their first name, in my instance, their surname, their email address, their mobile number, their postcode, and then they'll enter their son or daughter's name. They can also enter their pupil year group if this information is required by the school or transport operator, but in some instances this information isn't required and you can go straight on to view the tracking. If there's extra pupils that the parents wish to book for, they can click add pupil and book them from there. They then can click next and then see the journey information that are on the given page. You can then select which journeys you'd like to travel on a full return basis and then which terms, if any, and these can be coded and called different things depending on your school. They select the pupil name at the bottom to confirm that that's the journey. Before the confirmation page will load, which is detailing the information and the appropriate fare. If fares are required, these can be edited and placed at whatever the fare is for any individual journey, and then a parent can potentially add a discount code depending on what's required. If there are any terms and conditions, these can also be ticked and confirmed before clicking finish, and a booking will be made. In this instance where we click finish, it will say loading, please wait, and a booking will be made and you could potentially be taken to the payment portal. Full details and credit card information could be inserted, and again the fare and the price will vary if they book for a term, maybe for a given journey or a single trip. I won't make a booking here now because obviously it will require payment card information, but you can go through and make a booking. Once a booking is made, or parents and bookings and pupils have been loaded into the system, in some instances where bookings obviously won't be made, the driver on an individual route or chaperone or put extra person on the bus, but mostly the driver, will have a driver app which will work on any mobile phone, smartphone or tablet. Most instances just loaded on a smartphone, and you can either use RFID tags to tap a pupil on or off, or in some instances where smaller vehicles are used, maybe for special educational needs, a simple tap might just be what is required. And simply just by tapping the screen or using an RFID tag, you can tap on and tap off on an individual journey. In this instance, say we have pupil 1, pupil 3, pupil 2 boarding. They've now boarded the bus and we know that they're now on at this given stop, which is Aspie de la Zouch and the Tesco there at 7:07 in the morning. Then from the school point of view, or even for parents, immediately from the school, they can see, if we refresh the journey manifest, that pupil 1, pupil 3 and pupil 2 have all boarded the school bus service. Parents could also therefore, on their app, also receive a notification to say that their son or daughter has boarded the service. Should the pupil, and when the pupil gets off the service, untap in this instance, you can refresh the page, and you can see that they're no longer on the bus service. This therefore means that you know in any given point who is on the bus service, who is on a vehicle, and you can actually also know through back-end information about how long a pupil or a student has been on the service, or actually when they got on and when they got off. In many instances, obviously, it'll be what they get off at a given location of the school, and therefore that's predetermined. But obviously, in some instances where there's potentially multi-site, or where there's potentially a number of different drop-offs on a given journey, it's useful information to know. This information can also control, and you can look at the journey times for any given 2 stops. For many bus services, creating timetables and knowing further information about a given stop can be very hard. We can see here that this stop is at 7:07 in the morning, and the next stop, and these automatically go down as we're moving between the stops. But you can see the next stop is at 7:28. However, we might find that regularly the bus service is arriving at 7:25 and having to sit there to wait until 7:28. Or we might be able to give students a few extra minutes in bed, or we might be able to speed up or reduce journey times. This information is automatically gathered by the tracking app, understood by the system, and then what it can do, it can produce real-time trip analysis reports to understand whether or not the journey is running accurately, whether it's running on time, or whether it's running late. Many bus services obviously need to run, or many transportation services need to run within the industry window of tolerance of 1 minute early and 5 minutes late. And this information can help you substantiate any information required that you need to prove that your services is running within the time frame, or adjustments can be made to ensure that it runs within the time frame allocated. As mentioned, from the tracking app and the driver app, you can also see the tracking on here on a given route. This information can be available to parents and the school. Taken here from the overall view, you can see the overall journey that the bus this morning took. This is for an example of a school that operated this morning here in London, and you can actually see as the bus left the depot, drove along, went through Chiswick, went through Hammersmith, and started its journey towards Hyde Park. As it progressed, and it does do a bit of a loop, it's a little bit of a circuitous route, but as the journey continues and heads up to the school just north of Ealing, you can see every individual track on the given route. If we zoom in, for example, here near Ealing Broadway Station, you can see as the journey is made around the station and through the one-way zone and up towards the school. You can also see near where the start of the route as the bus makes turns or moves from location to location as it crosses each individual road. These tracking points can be taken at a number of different times, and depending on your geographical area, spread, or location, you might wish to take a tracking point every 2 seconds, every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, or even every half a second. Using different amounts and different tracking points can affect the amount of the quality of data and also how good the tracking route is. For example, you can see here where the bus, you can clearly see the turn that it made, but it isn't quite showing where its location. But here where the bus went a little bit slower, as we only take the tracking every few seconds here, it was absolutely fine. This example of a tracking heading up from Loughborough and towards East Midlands Airport is a prime example where maybe you have multiple school sites, or you don't wish to track the vehicle location at all times, but you wish to understand where it starts and finishes. So, as you can see here, the bus route started here on Derby Road, travelled up through Havant, through Kegworth, and up to East Midlands Airport. In this instance, the driver finished his route here at East Midlands Airport, but we wanted to understand actually what time he finished, and also where the location was that the vehicle stopped being used and the driver app was turned off. In this instance, it was here down near Ashby Road. And whilst we don't need to know the exact tracking of the location between those two distances, it's good information for the school to know exactly where the location of the vehicle finished. Some instances this might be required, and in others it might not be. Some people prefer to monitor the location to its end destination or from its start destination, but others just like to know the individual school bus route, which can easily be seen here, as you can see the location of the vehicle as it progressed up Derby Road in the A6. From the school or local authority point of view, there might be a number of instances where you need access to information, either on orders, the capacity on a given route, push out disruptions to parents, contact them or contact individual users, pull journey manifests, see who's accessed the system or who's travelled on an individual route, understand the postcode searched in the system. All this information is available from the back end, what we would call the school administration portal. This portal can be accessed and is locked down behind a username and password, with individual usernames and passwords created for different users that need to access the information. Different pieces of information can be available to different users, or in some instances you might find that certain members of staff need access to one piece of information, but not others. Here are a range of different features and reporting that are enabled, but there's also other features and reporting that isn't shown on here, that for further details, including things like the trip match analysis report that I spoke about earlier on, related to journey times between two individual stops, that feature could be enabled on here for an individual school or user that might need access to the information, but maybe not to an administrator who's simply wanting to check whether or not a child has travelled on the school bus service this morning. As you can see here, all of these routes have 10 seats on them. However, say the Mansfield route here, actually we're increasing capacity to maybe to 22. You can select the number and the capacity you'd like to go from. You can change the capacity between two dates if it's just a short-term change for a temporary measure or on a given day, or you might want to do it for the rest of the academic year or calendar year, which instance you change the route that you want to go to, press submit. And as you can see, 22 seats remaining. From a parent's point of view, they can then go in here, check availability, let's say for the morning journey. And you can see that there are 22 seats remaining on this journey because there is no bookings made. As more bookings are made or pupils are selected to travel on these routes, these colours will go from green all the way through to a black on a sliding scale through amber and red, as the number of seats remaining reduces or the availability changes. So when a parent first loads the app on their first time of use, they'll be asked for a username and password. When making a booking, a username and password will automatically be generated for them and sent to their email address, allowing them to log into the app and enabling them also to make any further bookings or amendments. For schools that wish to have parents making bookings directly on the app, this is also possible by using a school code. When a parent has successfully entered their credentials, both their username and password, and press logged in, they'll receive this homepage of the app. They'll be able to see the calendar, the tracking, be able to book now, contact us, see the routes, view the map, access settings, or see any further information. This is very similar functionality to what is available on the website, and it allows parents to very quickly, on any of their smart devices, both Android and iOS, make any amendments, changes, but also to quickly book and view tracking of where their bus is on any given day. They'll also be able to see whether or not their child has boarded the bus, got off, or got on. As parents can access the different functionality of the app, they can also go through and see the routes. Here, for example, the same routes as I was demonstrating earlier, again in the same colours as the individual routes. If we go here, you see the Cowalton Road with the light blue. It's also the same as the light blue here. This is an optional extra, and for certain people and certain users, this might be very, very useful, but for others, we might find that it's less useful. Okay. Once you've selected a given route, in this instance on the app here, selecting the Cowalton route, you'll see a range of different stops. All of these stops can be very quickly viewed, and the same information that can be seen on the website can also be viewed on the app. Here you can see the app, and you can also see the pin and location. The exact same information that was available on the website, both with the AM times, the fares, and allowing a parent to book, can also be very quickly viewed from the app at their fingertips. The calendar feature can also be very useful for parents to see potentially which journeys are booked on any given day, or see when their child is coming home or going to or from school on the bus service. This can also allow them to very quickly see whether or not they need to make an additional booking or whether or not their current bookings are available. Here is an example range of October 2019, and upon clicking go, you're taken to a calendar view. This shows that John Smith boarding at the Alistair Park Lane Gisborne Crescent stop, both in the morning and in the afternoon on his way home, and it shows both the boarding and alighting time. Should a journey not be required, potentially, an X feature is available for a parent to be able to delete that journey, and they'll no longer appear on the driver manifest. Again, for some instances, and this is highly customizable, deleting journeys might not be appropriate, but for others, it might be to so. Some instances, this might then affect the fare charged, but for others, it might not. Again, in the same way that tracking is available on the website, tracking could also be available on the app. Slightly differently from the website, where a full track of where the vehicle has gone to or from potentially isn't required very quickly at your fingertips. You can very quickly in the app see the current location. The refresh button allows you to very quickly see the current location, but also you can very quickly see where that vehicle is. In this instance, showing already actually at a yard of an operator. But actually you can see that this was at 13:53. If there's journeys running in the middle of the day, morning, afternoon, these can all be shown on the app on the individual routes. In some instances where there might be a delay to a given route, a driver can push that information at their fingertips by clicking "I'm currently running late" on an update of the driver app. Or if the school, for example, the vehicles might have left late or there was particularly held for a given reason, can go to the school administration portal and click disruptions. From here, a disruption can be quickly added to the system. You can select the given routes, all routes and all stops. But for example, this might also be used if there's roadworks on a given route or only affecting certain stops. In this instance, let's say we have the Ashby route here, and we have a number of stops that are going to be affected by the delay. we only wish to show these because these are the only ones that will be affected by the delay this evening. And we can select the times that the delay is effective from, let's say from now through to 10 o'clock, 10:25 tonight, is all there. Very quickly can add some text saying late running, before saying late and adding further text, maybe potentially late running due to due to traffic lights en route. This information quickly typed in. Say, for example, there's a diversion, an attachment can be added and sent. An image can also be added and sent. Then you can select whether you wish to email parents. For example, here we might want to select that the afternoon journey. You might also select just to email all regular users, and the text message functionality can also be added on a school-by-school basis. Upon clicking submit, that information is automatically sent to all users that are potentially using the route, also sent as a push notification to the parent app. You can also then see that on the website, you can see the late running of the service. Because we did this on the Ashby route, we can also go to the individual stop and see that the late running also appears there on the individual stop. This is particularly pertinent where a parent might have entered their postcode to quickly find the individual stop, or where there's extended period of roadworks, and this actually might be relevant for parents booking up to several months in advance. If you very quickly click on the disruption, you can see the stops that are affected and the description that's there. That information is obviously both available to the parents, to anybody potentially booking the service if it's a longer journey or a longer period of disruption, but also crucially for short notice, that notification that can be sent to parents can provide crucial in those critical few minutes when they're working out whether or not they've got an extra few minutes to sit at their desk or not, or whether or not they need to race to pick up their son or daughter from the bus stop, or what time they will be home. Thank you very much for listening. That concludes our demo. I'll now hand back over to Scott. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact us.
Thank you for the demonstration, Dominic. I hope that you that have taken your time to watch and listen to this webinar find it as useful as I did, and I'd like to thank you for your interest in our framework. If you have any queries, please contact me or the wider YPO team. I'm Scott, I'm the buyer for Fleet. You can also contact the wider Fleet procurement team at YPO on fleet@ypo.co.uk.